Okay, Algebra 1, Lesson 16. We're going to start off by talking about simplifying and evaluating variable expressions in your book. This starts off on page 86. There's not a whole lot of information given, honestly, in terms of new notes that have to be taken. A lot of this is just simply going to be working out examples. But to evaluate an expression that contains variables, we're going to substitute each variable in the expression with a given numeric value. It's just substitution. And then we want to find the value of the expression. So there's going to be a lot of multiplication involved, okay? And so we're going to follow order of operations strictly, all right, and then go from there. But that's the bulk of it, okay? It's just substitution and solve. All right. And then we get into lesson 17. Okay, translating between words and algebraic expressions. This will give us quite a bit. I'll probably add some things to this that you should already be familiar with in terms of when we start looking at word problems. There are words that are going to indicate to me how to write an expression, even though I'm not looking at an actual expression there itself. So algebraic expressions or variable expressions are expressions that contain at least one variable. A numeric expression contains only numbers or operations. So words that we might see used, for instance, if we're talking about addition, we may not say addition. We may use the word the sum of two numbers, the total of two numbers, more than. Okay, means we're going to add to it, added, increased, or plus. 4 added to a number, or 7 increased by a number. Okay. 4 added to a number is x plus 4. A number added to 7 or increased, or 7 increased by a number would be 7 plus x. None of this stuff should be super complex. It should feel like review, okay? But in my experience so far, right, I don't know that we've covered anything up to this point that has seemed super difficult, right? Most of it has seemed like review. But again, our test scores aren't really showing us that we understand everything it is that we kind of say that we understand. Okay? Let's see, subtraction is less than, minus, decrease by, difference. Difference is a big one. What's the difference between this and that? Well, that should indicate to me that I'm going to subtract two things. Okay, less than, the difference of 5 and a number. Okay, 5 minus x. 8 less than a number, x minus 8. Okay, 8 less than a number. We need to be able to see that the number comes first, in this case x, and 8 less than that, we're going to subtract 8. I can see where somebody on this would see 8 coming first. Less than means minus, x is the number, and so they would write 8 minus x. That would be wrong, because it is 8 less than that. Do you follow? Okay. All right, multiplication, product times multiplied. Product is probably going to be the biggest one used. Okay, the product of a number and 12. Okay, a number times 3. Now this really doesn't affect much in terms of order because multiplication is commutative, right? I can flip these things around. Okay, the same way with addition. But when we start talking about subtraction, we have to know what I'm subtracting from. Okay, the same thing with division. I need to know what is dividing and who is being divided by. Division, quotient, divided by, divided into. Quotient's not a word that a lot of people use a whole lot, and so it's easy to forget what it means. The quotient of a number and 6. Okay, so number and 6. Okay, the and is showing me the division bar. Okay, 10 divided by a number. That's one's a little bit easier to do. Another one I would like to add, let's see, in here would be the word of, right? If we see the phrase 30% of 25, okay, that means I'm going to multiply. Okay, that's not in this list, but it ought to be one that you start getting familiar with. Another one that I would add to the list, let's see if it'll let me, just going to drag this down, is equal to. Okay? All right, so 4 plus 5 is 9. Okay, is a word that we can substitute out with equals. Okay? So those aren't in there, but those are ones that I wanted to talk about. All right, I think that's the extent of what they're giving you in 17. And make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay, that looks like it. So from here on, we're going to work out some problems. All right. So evaluate 8 over x plus 10y for x equals 8 and y equals 6. What do I do? Caden. Okay, so I got 8 over 8 plus 10 times 6. Is that correct? All right. Jordan, what do I do first? Order of operations. Tell me about order of operations. What's the first thing? Parentheses, then multiplication. What are the qualifications on that multiplication? And it's multiplication and what? Division. And how do I know which one to do first? Left or right. So reevaluate your previous statement. Divide. Okay? What's 8 divided by 8? 1. Now what do I want to do? Okay? And what do I get? 60. All right. Now what do I want to do? Add, and what do I get? 61. All right? Don't ever stop thinking order of operations. Even though we could have done 60 and still gotten 1 and still got 61, we need to be in a regular habit of thinking order of operations all the time. Okay? Granted, you could have done your 60 and you could have done the one later and still added them together and got the right answer, but at some point or another, we're going to do something right when we should have done the thing to the left first, and it's going to change our answer. Okay? All right, let's look at number 2. All right, Christian, number 2. What do you want to do first? Okay. Okay. Now, recording how we're doing that is important, right? Okay. Because let's say for a second that I just did that, right? Because, hey, Emma's just sitting there next to it. I can just plug in. I can just write 7 next to 2, right? Does anybody see what I might do wrong? I might think it's 27, right? I might do 27 plus 9. What is 27 plus 9? 36. Well, fortunately, that answer is not up there, but it could have been, right? And I would have ended up getting the wrong answer. All right, so we need to make sure that if we do this, we either put in parentheses or we at the very least put in a multiplication symbol. All right, what do you do next? All right, 2 times 7 is 14, so I carry that down. 14 plus 9 is 23. Okay? Questions so far? Okay? I think it's just as important not only to know how to do a thing, but what kinds of traps might I fall into that are going to give me the wrong answer. Okay. Question number 3. Now we've got a word problem. This is probably lesson 17 things. Okay. Now I know because we're not doing pencil paper tests, you can't necessarily underline words and highlight things like you would on a pencil paper test, but there ought to be some words that stick out to us. All right, so the students in the astronomy club are selling snacks to raise money for a planetarium field trip. There's nothing in that sentence so far that has me do anything, correct? Okay, so I can almost throw away sentence number 1. It's just giving me a scenario. If they sell X muffins at 35 cents a piece and Y bags of carrot sticks at 15 cents a piece, the total number of dollars raised will be, and notice that they give me the equation. So I don't actually have to write the equation, which is nice. T equals, or total equals, 35 cents times X plus 15 cents times Y. How many dollars will they raise if they sell 210 muffins and 120 bags of carrot sticks? All right, so I want to rewrite my equation so I have T equals 0.35 what? X, I mean, I could rewrite the whole equation again, but it's already there. So let's go ahead and times what? Somebody said 120. Somebody said 210. Okay? You're right that those are going to be the numbers that I need to substitute, but how can I make sure that I'm not putting them in the wrong places? I might need to go back and reread. Okay? You might, during your test, need to go back and reread. Okay? Look at sentence number 2. Okay, right after field trip. If they sell X, what? Muffins. What number is associated with muffins? What number? 210. All right, so 210. All right, so do we see how easy it is to do the wrong thing? It has nothing to do with intelligence. It's just how quickly we're trying to get there. And then we either guess or we assume or something along those lines, and sometimes we're wrong even though we can do the math. Okay? So 120 is going to go in there. So we have 0.35 times 210. This is where a calculator comes in handy, right? $73.5 is correct. Okay, now we have 0.15 times 120. $18. All right, we still need a total though. $91.5. Okay, 91.5 or $91.50. Okay? It's not a difficult question, but we do have to read and we do have to be careful. All right. Let's see. Let's look at number 5. We want to write a word or phrase for the algebraic expression. What do you guys think? B, 2 less than t times 27. That looks right to me. Okay, so you want to be thoughtful about that. Let's see, make sure. Yep. Okay, it's not 27 divided by t. We could write that, so it might even help, to see what some of these would look like. If I was going to write 27 divided by t, is this correct? Okay. What about 3? The quotient of t and 27. How would that be different? T over 27, right? Oh, not 22, but 27. Okay. 2 times the sum of t and 27. Can anybody tell me how to write that? Sum means you add, so t plus 27. Now what? Like that? Nope. 2 times the sum of. I need to put parentheses around it. Okay, because it's 2 times the sum of. Okay? 2 times the whole thing. Okay? Does this make sense? Because if I do it without the parentheses, I'm only taking 2 times 27. I would get what? Like 54 plus t. All right, if I do it this way, I'm getting 2t plus 54, which is different. It's a different answer. Okay? So I want to be thorough about how these things look. All right. Let's see. There's a good mix in here. Let's see. What time are you guys out of here? 48? 48. Okay, let's look at 7. A fence has a total of 650 planks. Violetta paints in planks each day. Write an algebraic expression for how many days it will take Violetta to finish painting the fence. We've got 650 divided by n. We've got n divided by 650. We've got 650 times n. And we have 650 minus n. How many of you think A? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. I got 7 of you that think it's this. All right. Let's see. Anybody think B? I got 2 people that didn't choose an answer. All right. Anthony and Jordan didn't pick an answer. Anthony, what do you think it is? Do you think it's B, C, or D? Oh, you think it's A. So I need to change that to 8. All right. All right, and I won't be able to tell, although I could ask the question, did you choose A because everybody else chose A, or did it just take you a little bit longer to see why that was the answer?
He was loading it up.
Okay, so we're actually not looking at this then. Okay, well, if I've got something on the board, I want you guys to be able to look at it. A should be my answer. Okay, is there any way we can test that? The total is 650. If we're doing n planks a day, right? We shouldn't be multiplying. We shouldn't end up with more planks, right? Okay, we should be getting fewer planks. We should be able to, it's what we're finding out is a rate, okay? How many days it's going to take. So you guys did well there. Okay? Let's see. Let's try something. Oh my gosh, that's all messed up. All right. I can rewrite this though. Sometimes the computer goes crazy. My statement here is 3 times 8r over s minus 2r, and this whole thing is cubed. Okay? So this is a good question because it's more complicated. All right, well again, though, what is my first step? Mia? This is number 8, so I've kind of rewritten it up here. But it says if r equals -2 and s equals 12. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. She said you're going to plug everything in. So we've got 12 minus 2 times -2. Of course, we have this cubed, and we have this 3 on the outside. So now that everything has been plugged in, I think I've got it all plugged in correctly. What do you want to do first? Is there a 5? That's an S. Nope, sorry, that's an S, which it would have to be because there's no other S's anywhere else. Yeah. So she says 8 times -2, which is -16. Can we go ahead and can we do the denominator? What is that? Ah. 2 times -2, which is what? 2 times -2 is 0? -4, which would give you 12 minus -4 because you didn't do anything with that negative, right? So what would that end up being? 16. All right, good. Okay, or 12 plus 4, correct? Okay, so with something like this, Jeremy, what do you get inside your parentheses? -16 divided by 16, he says, is 1. Is he right? -1. All right, what's next? Do I multiply by 3 or do what? Exponents. Okay, this one's kind of a tricky one though, right? Because it's, what is negative 1 cubed the same as? No, because it's not 1. It's negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. Well, what's negative 1 times negative 1? But what's 1 times negative 1? Right, because it's an odd number. All right, so I'm left with 3 times negative 1. So what's my final answer? Negative 3. Okay. Negative 3. Okay. Yep. But that's why we're practicing this. Let's see. Let's look at number 9. Number 9 before we close out. I want to make sure that we can do some of these. Okay. Number 9, we have 4x squared y minus 5x cubed plus 7x squared y minus x cubed. Let me look at this because number 9 seems like it's from a different lesson. No, it's lesson 16. Simplifying and evaluating variable expressions. Tiffany? You can combine like terms. Can you tell me what 2 like terms might be? Okay, good. What is 4x squared y plus 7x squared y? I only change the exponents to the variables when I am multiplying or taking them to a power. Am I multiplying 4 and 7? No, I'm just adding. All right. So exponents stay the same. The only thing that changes whenever I add is the coefficient. Right? Can anybody tell me what the coefficients are in those 2 statements? 4 and 7. So what's 4 plus 7? 11, so I get 11x squared y. Okay. Do we have any other like terms? What else? And negative x cubed. What is that going to give me? Negative 6 x cubed. Can I combine those terms? No. No, that's it. So I get A for an answer there. Do we feel like we have a grasp or a hold on this enough that we can get started, or do we need to look at some more questions? Okay. If you feel like you've got it. But this is time to get started and then ask questions. Is it a question about this, or is it can I go to the bathroom? Okay. Give me a second to hit stop on this, and then I'll answer your question.